think clearly. We don't know what's going on. We're agitated. So these people who were in this lower vibrational state
Enjoy.
and they moved into it.
Here we go again, bartender. For fair use and educational purposes, another day, another dollar in your pocket. The Soul Game, Carmen's Kitchen. What's in the oven? We're on another safari. This one is about, what is a real friend and how do you know you got a friend? And if you had a friend all your life, and then all of a sudden y'all values become different and y'all going in different directions, how do you repair that friendship or let that friendship go or just, be friends at a distance or just respect each other's space and boundaries and still be, friends, but with knowing that y'all is different now. Y'all changed. So it's a brand new day, a brand new world. Somebody might be still old fashioned and somebody might be then made leaps to the future. You know what I mean? Their mind might have changed, and some people might remain the same, stuck, and some people move on. So that's what this one's about.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is The Ordinary Awesome, and I'm your host, O'Brien. This is part 2 of a 2-part video series we're doing on toxic friends. In the first part, we learned how to identify toxic friends through 10 toxic friend avatars. And in part 2, we're going to go through what's called Resolution Solution. So, in Resolution Solution, we are going to see what you're going to do. So the first thing we're going to talk about is decide. We're going to decide if you're going to get rid of the friends or keep the friends.
Which one?
If you decide
You
to
make
get
the call.
rid of them, well then you get rid of them, obviously. That's up to you, but I would say gracefully you change in time, and they might come back around again some other time in your life, and they might be in a different position for you to be able to deal with them. And if they're co-workers, then you might have to keep them.
I didn't say go, let them grow.
Work with them all the time. And if you do decide to keep them, this is going to require some work. It's going to require that you move into your higher self. And what I mean by higher self is you move into a state of understanding and compassion and extreme patience, I would say. Because when you're in that state of higher self, you can move out of the state of non-reactive judgment. Move into, the state of non-reactive judgment. Because as it is now, you're probably, justfully so, reacting to how they are to you in the first place. If they're judging you, or if they're dismissive to you, or whatever, you're going to be reactive because you are human. So when you move into your higher self, you can get into a state of non-reactive judgment, and you can look at them as what's called an objective observer. An objective observer just puts you in a state to look at them and understand that nobody truly wants to be like that. However they are, if they're the stepmom, if they're the mayor, the fake mayor, or if they're the judge or the crusher, which we talked about in part 2. If you haven't seen that, in part 1, you should go and watch that first before you see this.
He talking about somebody, that's one of your peers, somebody on your level, somebody that you might have grew up with and had a long relationship with. Now y'all find yourself separated. He ain't talking about no motherfucking no goddamn policeman or no crooked ass mayor or the fucking no good ass governor or any of these motherfuckers who want to cut you off on Facebook if you say something that they don't like. Them ain't your motherfucking friends. Them is just some motherfucking dictators. They don't believe in friendship. In fact, they don't even want you to have a friend. They want to make everybody so paranoid of everybody and tell niggas, if you ain't got a shot, nigga, I wouldn't give a damn if you was my great grandbaby. You gotta go, nigga. Ain't no friend. You collateral damage. In fact, I'm some kind of isolated zombie somewhere, and everybody else telling me what the fuck to do. That's why I'm telling you what to do, and that's how them countries is, like India and China. Them people ain't got no rights. The damn government telling them everything to do. And now that them people done overpopulated this place, now I ain't got no rights. The damn they telling me what to do. Yeah, India, China, and any other, Nigeria, and any other, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and any other the Philippines, all them people, They just ganged up on my little ass. I ain't got nobody. What? I'm a black man in America. Black people don't stick together. They all divided in gangs. Them people stick together as a nation, as a country. So they can come over here and just rearrange this country and make it their country and kick my ass out and send me back to their country. And in their country I don't exist. Nigga, I'm already exterminated. So that's why I'm saying they ain't talking about the motherfucker, them type of friends. Them type of friends ain't friends at all, and they trying to turn everybody into that. That's what I'm talking about.
Objective observer sees that no one wants to truly be like that.
You don't have no rights. Well, you don't have no freedom of choice. You don't have no religion. Because your religion said that God said you got freedom of choice and you got the right to decide what's best for you. But not what you got no damn government dictating to you what's best for you and stealing everything you got and making everything miserable for you and robbing you. Then that ain't best for you. That's destroying you. That's what's best for them demons, for them dictatorships. That ain't best for the people.
Then you can picture what was their emotional heritage like. And what I mean by emotional heritage is think about the way they were raised. Maybe they were in a bad household, or maybe something changed in their life. You're going through a trying emotional time, or...
they're so petty and so sinister and so wicked until it's like they design something for everybody to use and then say, oh, you can't use it. This shit, we lied. This shit is only for like trickeration purposes. If you don't put something up here that's just totally putting somebody to sleep or tricking them or just making them a zombie, then we don't want to promote it. You know what I mean? We're only promoting the zombie content on these dang programs. When you come with some real content, then it's like they feel offended because because they want to act like they on a certain level, and even if and the level is that they don't gotta be on no level. They make all the rules so they can just turn you on and turn you off. So if you don't agree with that, then you're gonna get turned off. So that ain't no level. That don't take no intelligence. That don't mean they intelligent because they turned you off.
Something that they don't feel they're worthy enough to actually tell you about, but
that just
it
means
manifests
that
itself
they
in
wicked
being a
and
judge
evil
or a
and
crusher
cheating.
Or any of the number of avatars that we discussed in part 1.
People out of reality,
so
out of their own motherfucking choices and freedom of speech.
Which is actually a good thing because it puts you into a different mind state to know that they basically are running around with the souls of a wounded child. So that helps you to deal with them more with enough patience to hopefully resolve the situation. So that alone gives you a leg up. And next thing we're going to talk about is what we call vibes or vibrations. And I mean a vibrational state of emotional awareness and emotional being. So, as we know, the great inventor Nikola Tesla referred to 3 things as being the secret of the universe.
I wonder why he chose him. Because
energy, frequency.
I wonder why he chose Nikola Tesla, because everybody know that either he was gay or he was a damn, he was celibate. What you call them, people who never have sex and shit? He was one of them, man. So why he pick him? He was one of the motherfuckers who never even had, they don't even have that nigga even dating men, let alone women, nigga. So if he's the motherfucker that just was dedicated to whatever the fuck he was dedicated to, right? I don't know what you call that. I didn't forgot what you call it, but it's somebody, a eunuchs, nigga, eunuchs. Somebody just chopped their dick off and they don't even think about that shit no more. Put that shit in a treasure chest somewhere. That's why I went, why he talking about him? That nigga don't even believe in no relationships. As far as sexual ones. So how the fuck was he gonna have a regular friendship?
Frequency and vibration. And he believed that everything has its own energy and vibrates at its own unique frequency. And given the human condition, we're able to move into different frequencies basically at will, especially once awareness and emotional being. So, as we know, the great inventor Nikola Tesla referred to 3 things as being the secret of the universe, and that was energy, frequency, and vibration. And he believed that everything has its own energy and vibrates at its own unique frequency. And given the human condition, we're able to move into different frequencies.
Yeah, but if they like, let's just suppose you a kid and they send you to juvenile and you keep getting in and out of trouble, then not only is you not ever gonna get no education from one of these public schools, but they're gonna kick you out of one of these public schools because you a troublesome kid or something, right? So they're gonna send you one of them continuation schools. So you never gonna get no education. So what he talking about here is somebody who got denied knowledge, because knowledge is power, right? So if you don't get no education as far as just understanding all them tricks of the trade, not no education as far as getting a job, because they ain't giving you no job education. They're giving you a job on a little bit of fake history. Even though it's fake, you still need it so that you can figure out for yourself. They ain't teaching you shit. They just teaching you how to figure out that shit is fake and phony. That's what that is. You ain't getting no education. So all this shit about he talking about you gonna get an education. Hell no, you ain't getting one. Did you get one in public school? And he didn't either. He must have went to a private school and they still didn't give him an education. He had to do his own research, and if it wasn't for this internet shit, then people wouldn't even be able to educate themselves now. They have to go on what the hell them damn wicked ass demons wrote down in them history books.
Basically at will, especially once we're aware of it and how to do it. But the higher states of frequencies consist of love, compassion, gratitude, empathy, and so forth and so on. When you're in that higher state, you can display these things, you understand them, and it gives you a better understanding of other people because you understand yourself. And you can really do anything once you understand the environment of self. Some of the lower vibrations are hate, jealousy, self-loathing, and there's a few others, agitated states and attitude and stuff like that. And when people actually are in this lower state, they're really in what's called a state of survival, which is number 3 here. And a survival state, it's more than just emotional. Emotions are the manifestation and results of them being in the survival state chemically in their body. Now, when you're in the survival state, you're working on what's called the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the fight or flight response, which you've probably heard about. 10,000 years ago, you being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. You don't think, you hustle, you run and jump into the cave, and then once you're safe, a little while later, your body goes back to homeostasis or calm as if the event didn't happen. But in our modern society, our stresses are all the time of how we perceive them. We perceive survival differently than life and death. Even though that can be the case, we see it as we have bills to pay, we have rent due, we have to go to work, our bosses are driving us crazy, we have car insurance, health insurance, somebody's sick. So whereas 10,000 years ago, you would have moved out of that state once you're in the cave in safety and move back to homeostasis, we stay in that environment all too often. Up to 70% of our days actually stayed we're in a state of survival, new science has showed. So that gets into, it weakens our immune system, it shuts it down actually, we can't think clearly, we don't know what's going on, we're agitated. So these people who were in this lower vibrational state and they moved into a state of survival, that's why they act like that. That's why the ego comes in, because it's all about saving themselves, me, 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 me. Now, they're not saving themselves from a saber-toothed tiger, but they are from their emotional damage that they had in whatever occurred in their life or a situation. So it comes off as grandiose, braggadocious, an idiot, a person that's short with you, doesn't give the attention that you deserve as a friend. So also what happens during that state is the brain actually moves into what's called high beta. Now, high beta brain waves is when your brain reacts to the sympathetic nervous system, which kicks up all the hormones in your body, and hypothalamus in the brain is like the command center of the brain, and it tells the adrenal glands to start secreting adrenaline. So that's why you may have seen your friends when they're, it's all about me. Look what I'm doing. Blah, blah, blah. You might see them in a hyper state, and even if they don't speak so rapidly, their brains are functioning in a high beta state. And high beta puts you into more of an analytical state, which means they're not compassionate, they're not caring, they're not understanding, they're not creative, they're not listening to you, in other words. So that's why you may talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, right, look what I'm doing. So that is what we get into in the high beta brain waves. Now, there are ways of bringing that back to normal, or homeostasis, balance, or rest, if you want to call it, by going into alpha brain waves. And that's just calming down and relaxing and deep breaths and focusing on the present, which you can apply, which I'll talk a little bit about that in here. So once you know this about the people, it gives you a better state of thinking about them, like I said before, the soul of a wounded child. And if you really want to help them, you can move toward it with having all of this in mind. So now we get down to doing the work. And this is, it's going to require, first and foremost, a lot of patience, because it took them usually a long time to get like that, or even if they were okay in blocks of times in their lives, they refer back to that emotional damaging state that put them there in the first place. And it can come up at any time. And the way that remembering it works is the emotions are just a snapshot of that exact moment of whatever caused them that trauma, be it abuse, physical, mental, or whatever. So when they relive it, something triggers it, your body produces the exact same chemicals as if the event just happened. So they're reliving that multiple times a day when they rethink it. It can be 100 times a day. So imagine if you went through a traumatic experience 10 years ago, but you think about it every day, 10 times a day. That literally means you had that traumatic experience 10 times that day in the chemical expression in your body, which manifests in the physical and the emotional. So patience is important for that. Next, we move into pillars of positivity, which is what you could try to do to begin to fix things with your friend. And what I mean by that is try to really, really stay positive. And when you know you want to hang out with them to kind of have that talk, be in an upbeat mode. Don't start off the conversation like, hey man, what's going on? We need to talk. Meet me tonight. Already, it's going to trigger their self-survival mechanisms because they feel like they're being attacked. Even though you may not, and you really wanted to discuss things and help them, how their mind perceives it is it's a threat, which reactivates this whole survival state all over again. So when they come and meet you, they're going to be in that high beta state and nothing's going to work. They're not going to hear you. They're going to be upset. If you give them constructive criticism, they see it as an attack on self because the ego's running the show. So be positive and say, hey, you want to hang out tonight as if nothing happened. And go to what I mean by safe space. I mean, don't go out with a whole group of friends if you want to discuss personal issues that you have with that one friend. A lot of people feel they may need to have the group to back them up. Yeah, you do this, right? Doesn't he do this? Doesn't she do that? That's the worst thing you could do because once again, you're coming from multiple angles of attack, which is going to shut them down, set them off, and you'll accomplish nothing. And if you really want to work at this, don't do that at all. Go somewhere by yourself where you know you have time. Make sure that it's a block of time that you both have time for, that they don't just tell you their braggadocious things or say their comments and they're out. I gotta go. I'm out of here. Make sure there's time so they can sit down and discuss this. And don't get too heavy at first. Try to keep it light. And that moves into the next thing that I call let them roll. And what I mean by that is if they're the friend that always talks about themselves or what's going on with them, let them do it. Just sit there and quiet because you know all of this now. You have your higher self with you. You're not by yourself. You don't need your friends. So now just keep thinking wounded soul of a child when they talk.
Wounded soul of a child.
Let them go through their thing because that way they feel that they're heard and subconsciously somebody cares enough at least to listen, even though you might have felt it being a little over the top. So listen to them with that. And then after that dies down, which it will because usually people don't keep up that level of energy for a while and you might have to take your shot if they do slowly, you know, and start really asking personal questions. If it's the braggart, oh, I got a new car, I got this, guess what happened to me in my job? Or if it's something bad, oh, it's always me if they're the victim. Simply switch into asking them questions, personal questions, really like, how are you feeling today?
Yeah,
not about the car, not about what the bag they bought, not about what they
just
did,
checking in.
but really, how are you?
Check in,
and they might look at you in shock because they're not used to somebody truly caring. So that might trigger a little bit of defense and just it might throw them off their game. But stick with it and really ask, how are you doing? Or if you know their grandmother's sick, or so, how's your grandma?
How's everybody out there doing
with her? Because once again, that calms them down subconsciously and puts them more into an alpha brainwave state and out of the beta brainwave state, so they can relax a little bit more. So after you do the personal questions, I would show vulnerability, and what I mean by that is tell them something you may not have had a chance to tell them before because they never listened. Tell them something that's going on in your life, like, oh man, my boss, I don't know if I'll get that promotion, or I'm not feeling well, I'm kind of sad, or whatever it may be, because a lot of times people will move into what they see. In other words, if you show them vulnerability, they subconsciously feel safe enough to show you some of theirs. So, and that gets into something in the human brain called mirror neurons. And I'm going to get into that in future episodes. But it's basically what they see, you copy just by being around it. Like an example is, if you've been with somebody and they start yawning, even though you didn't feel tired, you start yawning. It starts with the mirror neurons in the brain. So maybe we can get some of those going in. So showing vulnerability might help them open up. And then after you do that and things kind of settle, you might have your appetizers by then, I don't know, you might be eating or something or drinking. But anyway, at that point, I would tell them how you really feel. Now weigh it out. You might not have to dump the whole story on them about, oh, last Tuesday you did this, March 24th, 2005 you did this. You don't have to have a litany, a list that goes on and on and on, because once again, that attacks
you don't want to tear them down. Nobody, every time you be around somebody, the only thing you doing is criticizing them or tearing them down or just fucking up their mood. Everybody, you know, it's got to be 50-50. You got to, you know, it's just like a kid, you know what I mean? If you told them Christmas wasn't real, then there wouldn't be no magic in Christmas. If you told them Halloween ain't real, then there wouldn't be no magic in Halloween. You know what I mean? If you told them Thanksgiving ain't real, they robbed the Indians and killed them off the buffalo so the Indians would be starving. But yet it was the Indians who fed the pilgrims, the white people, when they first came to America, the immigrants. The Indians fed the immigrants when they first came here. They call them the pilgrims. But yet the same immigrants that fed them is the same ones they enslaved and gave them all kind of diseases and all kind of stuff. So, I mean, and exterminated their food, the buffalo. So is that fair? That don't sound. That's what is the kind of payback is that? You know what I mean? So the point is, don't keep reminding them of that. Because if we was to do that, nigga, all they gonna do is just tell us to shut up. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no sense in getting in no argument with nobody. You see what you could do. If you could work with them, and get them to see if they got some feelings, and if you can reach their feelings, and that you could have a relationship with their feelings, because their mind is like, it's been traumatized and it's isolating them from their feelings, and they looking at everybody like it ain't no friends, and everybody's the damn enemy. Everybody, you know, gonna do me like this. So, you know, so it's first blood. I got to strike first. So everybody, you know, I don't never put my guards down. I'm always the one that's gonna strike first. So that's kind of like, cause that's how the Pilgrims was, wasn't it? They was never nice. That smiling face shit was a trick, remember? Smiling faces tell lies. All that shit was a trick, right? But now, can you reach their emotions? That's the only chance you got. Cause and if they ain't got none and they merciless, then damn, I guess you gotta fight back. That's when he talking about you gotta let go. You gotta separate, right? Because they ain't gonna do nothing but keep trying to start a fight and keep on making you feel like, you know, things is unfair for you. So you definitely gonna be like, hey man, I don't even want to continue this no more because, you know, I feel like you messing up what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be, you know, compromise and go have 50-50 in mutual respect with another human being, and that other human being ain't giving me the same respect, that same 50-50.
Perceive it their ego, and they shrink in and feel small, which is going to make them either get aggravated or leave or get nasty, not want to hear it. So I would just tell them, you know, like, hey, look, man, we've been friends for a while, and I think you must have been friends for a long time, because anybody that's acting like this in a new friendship, you would tend not to be friends with in the first place. So then you got to understand what brought them to this place, and something may have happened. But anyway, I would tell them, you know, this is, you know, it seems like every time we talk, I don't know if you're really hearing me. I always want to hear about what you're doing, but it seems like what I say doesn't matter. You don't really care. You know, you cut me off, or no matter what I do is not good enough, or my friends, or whatever it may be. I would stick to probably like one general issue of how it makes you feel rather than pulling out the list. You can go.
You know, if somebody, you know, I know what the problem is with that situation. If somebody was too motherfucking dependent on me and was asking me to do all this and all that, I probably wouldn't do it either. But this is a 50-50 thing. If I'm going to sit there and listen to all these things, your ideas, then why can't you listen to some of my ideas? And I ain't talking about listening to my ideas so you could take them over and steal them from me and tell me what to do with them. Just, you know, I'm just sharing. If I want some advice, then I get some advice, just like you. If you want, because you ain't asking for no advice, you just telling me all of the shit you doing, and I wish you like, I wish I was doing it. To me, you just showing off or something. No. What happened to showing? You ain't even got to show me how, but I mean, damn. If you gonna act like it's normal to kind of like brag about what you doing, not that I'm bragging, but why can't I just tell you about some of my ideas too? Without you turning them against me and telling the whole world and all that. If I can't trust you, then I ain't even gonna talk to you at all.
Go through those later if and when it comes up.
I'm talking to you,
so
not the world.
After you tell them that, give them time to let it sink in. They might not know what to say. They might be completely caught off guard. And usually the reaction a lot of times is, I don't do that. Really? I don't do that. Because it's not that they're not acknowledging it. They really
That's the problem.
don't see past their nose during survival. They're bragging.
That's the problem with the mob wives, right? Or them NBA wives, or them celebrity wives. They know too damn much, so they scare everybody, and they make everybody on their toes. I mean, they could just blackmail you. You always got to kiss their ass 24 hours a day. At first, that shit is cool for about 4 or 5 years. Then after that, a motherfucker be like, God damn, I've been on this plantation too long. I got to get off. I want my life back. Basically, I want my secrets back, because this is bullshit. You just blackmailing me.
They're annoying you. They're judging you. All of that is survival. And when that's going on, once again, like I said, they don't have clarity in the sense of what they're doing to you, about what's going on within side of them, coming out as those attitudes and behaviors. So if they do react like that, let it sink and tell them you're not attacking them. I'm just saying, you know, this is how I feel. And then if they really, you start showing signs of agitation, really just change the subject, because now you planted the seed. Really have that in your head. You know what I mean? They have it with them. So just do it not at the very end of the night to where it leaves off on that. We want to leave off on a positive note, or kind of like the sandwich method that somebody told me about, which is to say you give a compliment or say something nice, then you give them the information that they don't want to hear but need to hear, then you leave them with something nice. So it sets up their subconscious to at least have the framework of the last feeling, emotion left off from the night was nice. Because oftentimes we might not remember a person's name or exact situation, something that happened 10 years ago or yesterday, but you will remember how it made you feel. The kid in 4th grade who kicked your chair and made you hit your head and embarrassed you in front of everybody, you might not remember his name, but you know how it made you feel. So it's the same way with that at the end of the night. And if they do start to present themselves as agitated or attitude, just like I said, change the subject, talk about the food, talk about anything, and you'll build from that point. But you did lay the groundwork. And if they go the other way and say, "Oh man, I didn't realize I was doing that," just say, "Yeah, you were. I just want to talk about it." Don't see that as an opening to dump everything else out, because they won't hear it, and then they will feel really, really attacked. And you don't want to do that. So it takes time, just like the friendship built up. It takes time to repair it. So tell them that. See where that goes. If it ends off great, make plans to go out right away again, like for next week. So if things were going good, make plans right away. And if things were a little shaky and you left off with a good energy, still make plans right away, because that still tells their body and their minds that things are okay. It's still safe because you made plans and you be the one to make the first move on the plans. And it tells them that they're safe. And you already set up to go bowling next week or whatever, so things are good. So that really will let it marinate in their heads that, okay, I may need to work this out. And they won't be thinking that they're awful people because you made plans with them for next week. So that gives a good basis of starting to rebuild a friendship. And I'm pretty sure that somebody will take that to heart, even if they may not have seemed like it at the time. When they go home, they're going to digest that. And just when you talk to them again, act completely normal. The second time you go out, do not bring it up. Don't go, "Hey man, remember last week? Have you been working on that?" Let it lie. If they start to exhibit those same behaviors as they were before, of judging or whatever they're doing, just simply say, "Hey man, what's going on?" Just kind of nudge them a little bit. And when I say nudge them, it may be just by giving a look and not saying anything. I find that silence can be more effective in those situations than talking about it or pointing it out, especially if there's other people around. Like if you say, "Oh, guess what? I just got my this," and he's looking at, "Oh man, it's not." Just look at him. Don't say anything. Just be quiet and then go on bowling. They'll get it. You're reprogramming their brain, and that takes time because the subconscious is a tricky thing. Once it's in there, it becomes habitual. First they start off, it might have been a mood, and then a temperament, and then it moves into, if they kept that long enough, a personality. So they got the personality of the judge, of the step parent, or any of the number of avatars that we talked about in part 1. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up and just tell you that it's going to take patience, and I think you'll have good results with that. And if they're worth it, they're worth the patience and time it's going to take to do this. And remember, it really is a marathon and not a sprint. And do it over a block of time. And you might have to repeat it with those gentle nudgings and helping them out. And then you also might have to pull away from them for a little while, so they feel that there's something that they did that changed the mood of things. So if you pull back a little bit, and give it time and just let life happen, they'll come back into your life. Or you could call them later on and get back together.
See, they should be teaching this in the schools. You know what I mean? They should be teaching this in schools, in high schools, and junior high, all this type of stuff. What the hell is they doing teaching them all that, like hiding shit from them? Or it's basically like saying, "Oh, you can't know this yet because it's illegal. We've got to hide this from you." And then by the time when you need to know it, it's too damn late. You ain't got time to learn all this shit when you got to go to work and shit and go get a job and pay rent. So it's like they're holding you back in them damn public schools, you ask me. Because their curriculum ain't right. You know what I mean? They should have been dealing with this shit when kids was kids. I mean, like 13, 14 and shit. Instead of all that sex education bullshit, they should have been having like counseling sessions like this. Life skill, mental life skill counseling sessions like this. Teach kids how to counsel themselves. You know what I mean? Now, I hope they don't ban me for saying that. I hope they don't like say, "Oh, he just said something real racial or some shit." They just come up with any excuse. All I said was that the kids should have had some kind of counseling at an earlier stage, because when you get older, then there's more responsibility on you, and you don't have time to go back and get that education. So you should have got that education at like 13, 14, 15, not when you 21 or 25. That's all I'm saying. YouTube or Facebook or whoever the ones be saying that something that telling people what they can and can't say on these videos. You know what I mean? I get your point. You can't say anything. You're right. And if it ain't positive, then it ain't positive. You're right. That ain't God. You're right. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That ain't fair. That ain't family friendly. Like you say, family friendly. So I agree with you on that, YouTube. But you know, we all gotta learn. I mean, I'm glad y'all at least give us 3 strikes before you give us 1, you know, because y'all could just say, we'll give you 1 strike and then you out of here. So, you know, you could be like that. But like you say, my point was, this is very complicated to have a relationship with anybody at all, including YouTube. You know what I mean? Having a relationship took training and took time, and if your time ain't like evenly divided out like a pie, you know what I mean? This much time for the school, this much time for your job, this much time for your eating and bathing and all that shit, and your sleeping time. Hey man, the pie is getting really small. YouTube, you ain't got time for all that. So why couldn't they have did this then? And then even the pie is small now, because you know, now we got this type of information got to be organized by somebody, then represented on a platform to where people is going and looking for that type of knowledge. You know, people don't make a dime off some of these YouTube channels. It's just for educational purposes, and then yet you still want me to be confused. I mean, if I'm gonna study something, YouTube, I want to study something that ain't gonna confuse me, man. I don't just want to be confused because you know, you're gonna put me off the air if I study something that don't make me confused.
So with that, I'm gonna leave you, and I hope this helped you out. And please like and subscribe, because we have much more content coming, and we're gonna get into more chemical aspects of memory.
I mean, if I wanted to stay confused, all I would do was
give some tips
sit up there and watch that rap shit until I
help that I've
OD.
given some of my clients, especially for
That
entrepreneurs.
what's that? That ain't nothing.
Women entrepreneurs in particular, because I feel that they're really an underserved community.
Off
So
that crazy.
stay tuned. But I didn't forget you fellas too. So anybody out there who's an entrepreneur,
shoot 'em up, bang bang rap
we got
song.
some stuff coming up for you for that. And then we're gonna have some fun stuff coming up. Also, we're gonna be in the studio with some amazing producers. Beyonce's producers, Lady Gaga's.
I ain't talking about
producer.
this all like world's
Anyway,
funniest videos. That don't have no
Resolution
education.
Toxic
I'm talking about
Friends,
educational
and I hope
videos.
you guys got something from
That's
it.
where the
I'll
problem
see you
comes
soon.
in
Peace.
on you that I got with YouTube. You know what I mean? When I make them funny videos, they cool. They ain't got no problem with that. They laughing too. But sometimes when I make a serious video, then it's like, oh man, you know, we can't participate in that. You know, you're not confused. Okay, well I'm not confused. Well, thank you anyway. But like I said, I guess I'm gonna have to keep on putting on these world funniest videos because I don't have no choice. It's either that or I'm kicked out the club. Here we go again, bartender. The dangers of exploitation movies and the danger of watching it on your TV set. Because, you know, they target this stuff for specific demographics, you know what I mean? This shit, they ain't targeting this shit to Chinese people, I guarantee you. They targeting this shit to no Indian, Arabian people. Targeting this shit, you know, I don't know who they targeting it to. You make the call. I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna look and see who the characters is. That's who I think they targeting. But this is for educational purposes. You know, they told me I can't put on nothing too serious, so I'm gonna have to put on confusion. Cause this is called confusion film, confusion vision. Because the only thing legal is confusion. But like I say, your TV set need a warning label on it.
Listen.